why don't
everybody.
Hello, Mama.
why don't we open up the panel and our thoughts on Hamilton before I get to a super fan here.
Oh
So.
goodness.
Oh my gosh.
It's
There's so
genius.
Sarah, I'll start with you and we'll work our way through.
I just love it. I just think it's pure genius.
Can I start with a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Up until last week, you had only seen the CD.
Yes.
You listened to it over and over and over again.
Obsessive.
Just saw it for the first time.
Yeah.
Can you tell me some of the things that you did not expect or things that took you by surprise when you were watching it on the
It's
play?
just like it's such a good thing about theater is when you see a show, there's just these little details that you just don't get from a CD. Like for those of you that have listened to it, you know, there's this part in Helpless where they're walking down the aisle and like everyone has this little thing and then Mulligan is like throwing like flowers and it's just these
he
tiny...
just throws a little like handful of
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
It looks
and it
seems so like out of place in that role, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, and there, like I said, it's just these small little details that just make the show, you know. And then there are definitely some
There's so
things.
many of them.
Yeah, there's some things in the show that you don't get from the CD. So it's
Yeah.
just, it's so good. It's so great.
Even the scene where Lawrence is killed, basically.
Yes.
They
Oh my
omitted
God.
that from
Didn't even know.
the album.
Yeah.
That
Saved
was-
it.
Yeah.
He saved that. He wanted to make that so that anybody who saw the play had one little thing that nobody else could see that was on the CD. So nobody knew about it until it started to get played
Which at the time,
online.
a lot of us didn't know if we were ever going to see the damn show. So.
Yeah,
Honestly,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, just
Now-
like Eliza's scream too after
At the
Philip
end.
dies. Like, oh my
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
was that. Oh, the
I
gasp
sobbed
too.
like
Yeah,
a baby.
I-
It was so bad.
from there on, I was just crying just for the rest of the show, and I was with
Oh, it took you that long to start?
Yeah, no, well, hey, I'm a sensitive
I was
person.
literally crying in the first number, but
Oh my God.
like I explained, I cry at half.
You do.
It's
I know. Well, a friend of mine actually was with us watching it. It was my boyfriend, my godmother, my mother, and our friend, and he had to stare at the costumes, and he's like, "I can't. Those are nice costumes." And he just, because he was trying not to cry, so hard. Yeah, those are lovely. These are lovely costumes
costumes are
right
great.
here. But
Your background on your
that's
laptop?
Good. I was going to ask you that.
Oh yeah, we got you.
Look at those pretty
I wasn't
people.
Those
passing
are
that up.
so
Look
nice.
at them pretty.
So to answer your question, I had primarily listened to the album, and I had a friend who had seen the musical before it won the Tonys, and so she told me some of the little things like about the bullet, the gasp, the scream, and everything. Just that wasn't shown. You know, you couldn't get it from the album. So it was really cool just hearing all this stuff, but still, I was just hearing it. I wasn't seeing it. So to finally see it.
So she saw it in New York?
She did.
How much did she pay for it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
At Richard Rogers or at the first theater?
I'd have to ask her.
Yeah.
I can't answer that question, but it might have been the Richard Rogers.
Okay.
But
That's exciting, though.
Yeah. It was really cool. Just hearing about it, and I was like, oh, I really want to go see it. And then it won the Tonys, and I couldn't afford to go see it. So
Honestly, yeah.
yeah.
Jocelyn, I actually have a specific question for you. So you were, if I'm recalling social media posts correctly, you were a part of the Disney College program.
Yes.
Before y'all got shipped back up. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
My heart goes out to you, truly. Did you have any thoughts on when Disney announced that they had acquired Hamilton to be put out there? I know you're a huge Disney fan, so
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you had any feelings as far as one of your favorite companies acquiring this musical.
I mean, I was excited. I already had Disney Plus, so I was gonna watch it, obviously. Obviously, we had no idea, like, if you work at Disney, you don't have any inside information, so
No,
we
I
didn't know it
get
was
that.
gonna
No, I
come.
mean just like when you first heard it.
I mean, it was exciting because I feel like when it comes to streaming services with Broadway shows and pro shots, like, I think there's like Broadway HD and a few other ones, but it doesn't seem like they kind of infiltrate the main streaming services. So to have Disney be able to bring it on was really exciting and I think really cool. And it's accessible to more people because it's not that expensive.
No,
I think
absolutely.
It's even cheaper than Netflix sometimes.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
It makes you wonder if Disney might go to acquire more. Because, I mean, obviously they did
love
Into
it.
the Woods
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
years ago,
Yes.
and that
Yeah.
was surprisingly incredibly well
It
done.
really was.
Didn't they have a pitch about Wicked too, or something at one point? They were trying to acquire rights to Wicked.
Well, I'm sure they're going to be making a push for it now.
I hope so. That'd be great.
Oh, it's King. Look, it's Jonathan.
We
Groff.
gotta talk King George now that
That
he's
is
I
popped
love
up.
lovely.
him so much.
Just-
How amazing is that performance? Did you guys know about the walk? How he developed the walk? That very iconic walk as he comes out?
I thought it was that he
No.
had to like balance the crown on his head.
It
or
was
something.
precisely that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first crown when he came back, the crown was significantly lighter because the first one had broken. But in the first run, the crown was so heavy and so it could easily fall off. So he had to do this like perfect walk. Also, he's in heels for that. So he does this
Right.
like one foot in front of the other heel, and also the
gosh.
little shimmy shoulder dance. Like it's all because he had to keep this crown on his head.
It's such an
But it-
energetic song
it
too. You wouldn't
adds to the
expect that. Like,
performance.
yeah.
Yeah, the fact that the song is so upbeat and his delivery is kind of more subdued
Yeah.
is brilliant.
Can you say some of the people that were in King George besides
Yeah,
him?
I was just going to mention. So as far as replacement actors went, I found out very recently that Taron Killam from SNL took on the role at one point. I was like,
What?
Brian Darcy James, who was Shrek on Broadway, he
I
took
did
over.
see that, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the original cast,
Yeah.
but when I see King, I,
I
see
see
Jonathan,
Jonathan-
Groff.
yeah.
No,
I
right.
think Brian actually came first before him, and then he went on to do another show, so they put in.
Yeah, and
That's
then
right,
eventually he
yeah.
came back.
And then
but-
they kind of go
And
in
I-
between.
And I
Okay.
forget which one it was,
Interesting.
but whoever was doing it at the time when they went back to record, graciously let Groff take over
Right.
the part.
And
because
then
he was
Andrew
so
Rennell
iconic.
is in it, and he's got his own show now, Miami or something. Black Monday.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. yeah.
Oh, okay.
So on one of the Ham for Hams, they've got 3 of the King Georges that come out and sing all together. Hilarious.
They do the Schuyler sisters
Yep.
as the Schuyler sisters.
Yes.
And then Renee plays Burr.
Oh my god.
Is there a clip of that online?
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god.
Man, we need to
All
look
part
at
of the
that
presence
later.
of
If you want to spend
Yeah.
the evenings, start on Ham for Ham, and you'll be there for hours and hours because they just keep on going. There's dozens
As
of
she
them.
has multiple times, and then indulged me with all of this knowledge afterwards.
Crossover Lord said that with Disney Plus, there's no way they can't not open the door for other live
That's what I'm
musicals.
saying.
I
Yes.
really hope
There's
so.
no way.
I really hope so.
Like,
The amount of downloads that they got for this, like I know that
Yeah.
Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, has clearly stated that they were not intending on making money on
Yeah.
Disney Plus for at least 5 years after launch because they had the capital to back it up. But clearly, they can start maybe like a year ahead of schedule in terms of making a profit if they continue to
Yeah.
bring in more musicals. Because maybe some thespians are against the idea of these modern musical tellings. Maybe they'll be inspired to grab it with an older show that maybe no one else had the rights to before. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's just
like you said with
I would love to see
Wicked,
that.
like they would
I-
make
yeah.
that's a classic.
Wicked.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way.
Well, I've seen like storyboards online that fans have made and like the style of Disney, like a 2D animation.
yeah.
And I'm like, I would love to see that. Like, that would be so nice.
Didn't Disney do some other like Wicked Witch of the West film like way
Like a
back,
prequel?
few
Oh,
years ago?
with like the wizard,
did?
and Mila
Yeah.
Kunis was the Wicked.
It was Oz,
Oh, the
right? It was
movie?
Was it Oz?
Yep.
The Great Power?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
James Franco
James
was in that.
Franco.
Yep.
What was
What a time!
an experience.
So
I guess we
That
don't,
was a weird
I guess we don't
thing.
talk about that.
But I think if COVID hadn't happened and we were still, working as we normally would, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that Disney would have just gone and, I don't know if Wicked would have been $75 million worth, but they probably would have had the capital back up
Yeah.
either way. So I'm sure they would have swiped it up. Now, I don't know, it's anybody's game, but they probably would have if they could.
I don't know. Do you remember those live musicals that they've been doing, like Rent and Little Mermaid?
Yes. While shaky, while incredibly shaky, and some
Yeah.
more than others.
Yes.
No reason why Brian Williams' daughter needed to be Peter Pan. That was obviously a bot job, but it was still good to have the exposure
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
people that wouldn't normally get to see a Broadway show. Like maybe
Yeah.
there's people out in Wyoming who can't afford the plane ticket to get to New York, and then
Yeah.
food and the
Yeah.
tickets themselves and everything else that goes
Yeah.
with it. So I
New
was
York
fine
is
with the exposure.
expensive.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is
I'm
so
sure.
expensive.
I went
yeah.
to see Beetlejuice, and it was, oh god.
But
lot
you're
of
happy
money.
you spent the money to experience
Oh yeah,
it,
it was
right?
an amazing experience, and I highly suggest anyone that has a chance to go to New York, not because of the pandemic, but
Please do not.
long after, you should definitely go. It is an experience that you have to have. I feel like at least once in your life. So
Was Beetlejuice? Was that the first?
yes, Yeah. Well, no, because when I was younger, I saw Phantom, and then we saw another show. Yeah, which.
But your memory was
Phantom-
terrible back then, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's still terrible, but we're getting there.
I wanted you to admit it on the air.
Merrick, you're so nice.
Let me throw in for local theater, if you can't go to New York, there are plenty of theaters around here that are top quality also. There's one up in Gardner, Theater of the Mount, that does shows that I think are as good as Boston. There's shows in Sterling, there's shows down in Worcester.
Support
There's
your local
really
theater.
good local
Yeah.
theater around here with great people, very, very talented. So
And
you can
if
go
you-
and see theater without going to Boston,
I'm gonna-
without going to New York.
You're going to be proud of me. I'm going to work in a plug. And if you do support your local theater, that means that you can engage in my mother's partnered costume shop, ACTS, Atlantic Coast Theatrical Supply. So if you go to see a show, chances are her costumes are going to be up on stage. So support your local theater
Nice.
for Mama Henry.
And we're going to be online, so you can find us. Merrick's going to put us on with all the rest of his little.
Yeah, I got to buy a
theaters there.
website. And yeah, we'll figure it out later. But
You
anyway.
can make them for free, you know.
There's also
Yeah.
Squarespace.
Yeah,
What was that
Squarespace.
again?
Squarespace is pretty
we were just
good,
talking about
yeah.
that.
What was it that you said?
You can get them for free.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Websites.
but I
figure
mean,
it
if you want to buy one, anyways.
You mean
But,
the website? Yeah, we don't want to pay money
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. Had either of you ever experienced a Broadway show?
A
I don't know if I
Broadway
ever actually
show,
asked.
or Hamilton specifically.
Either or, I
There
guess.
are other ones.
I saw Hamilton at the Boston Opera House when it came in, I was like November 2018, I think. So I saw it then because I had a family friend who was like a partner with the theater or something, so they had early access to tickets, so we were able to get them.
That's dope.
But Broadway in general, yes. My school, I was in the culinary program at my school, and we did a trip to New York City every single year. And for students, the tickets were $10, and that included like your hotel and your bus, which is insanely
What?
cheap. So we stayed like in the financial district. So every night we had free time, and so I always tried to go see a show because I would buy like the
Nice.
same day like discount tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat front row at Chicago for like $75.
Ooh.
And then I also saw
Yeah.
The Play That Goes Wrong, which obviously isn't a
Oh,
musical,
that
but
is
it's
the most
hilarious.
amazing
So
thing.
good.
And then I saw Anastasia the last time I went.
Well, clearly we went to the wrong high school. Clearly we.
No.
was college.
What? No.
Oh, college?
Yeah.
We still went
went
to.
to the
I
wrong
went to
college.
Fitchburg State, so that's still just as bad.
Wrong college.
So you just mean like New York Broadway, right?
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Extravagant theater experience. Whatever.
seen extravagant.
Warm feelings.
Okay, gosh, I'm
Every
so
day is
bad
an
with-
extravagant theater experience with you, Merrick.
How dare you?
How very dare you!
a theater genius.
In
when it comes
terms of New York.
Sorry, Becky, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's okay, no, sorry. In terms of New York, I did get to go see The Lion King. It was my first Broadway musical on Broadway to see. My mom got me tickets, or my uncle got us tickets for my birthday. And it was really fun. It was such an experience. I walked into the theater, the show had not started, and I started sobbing. So it was a really nice experience. I've seen some shows in Boston. I've seen Wicked. I've seen, oh goodness, I think I saw Les Miserables in Boston. I think. Don't quote
So
me on
good.
that.
So you're hitting up all the super musicals we're talking
I-
about. This
yeah.
is great. You're hitting up everyone.
Boston's so good though. If you
No,
can't go
definitely.
to New York, Boston.
Boston is
for
so
sure.
good.
Amazing.
Yeah, support Boston theater too.
I don't know
It's-
what year you went down to see it, but Chris Jackson was Simba in The Lion King before he was in Hamilton.
It was 2018.
This
So
would have probably been before, but
Yeah.
he was first in the touring company and grew up in it, and then became Simba for a couple of years.
I need to check my Lion King playbill.
Which is that?
Checking her Lion King playbill,
I
just
saw it in
scrolling through.
Boston.
If
when
you
I
look,
was in middle
if you look in
school.
the, if you look in the book, the Lion King book with all the pictures of all the costumes that she made, there's a little picture of him traveling on the bus when he was first traveling. He was a little kid, teenager.
Did you also know that in the original cast, Samuel E. Wright, who portrayed Mufasa on stage, he was the voice of Sebastian in The Little Mermaid. So Sebastian was Mufasa, like a decade later.
Think about that.
Nominated
real
for a
quick.
Tony. How epic is that?
The range.
wow, they had the range in the character.
I freaking love Sammy Wright, so
He's-
that's why I
yeah,
had
so
to mention
cool.
mention that little tidbit. But yeah, Barney, have you ever experienced since you were telling me off camera that you were a distinguished theater kid?
Oliver.
for your performance in Oliver.
Please tell us about your experience as
I
a
was like,
theater.
I was going to be in a performance of Oliver that I forget why, but it never actually happened in the end. So we rehearsed for months, and I loved it, but we were never actually put on the show, which sucks. But no, as far as like, I've never seen anything on Broadway. Like the closest thing I can think is more local productions, you know, or I might have seen a touring production of something, but nothing comes to mind, especially nothing from the major sort of Broadway family.
Yeah.
I would love to.
I was going to say,
I
once
was
the,
saying,
once the
like,
gates open.
I was saying if I was in, I as I've already mentioned, like was basically crying through the whole thing, and it's because but not at the saddest part. Weirdly, because I cry at like happy stuff or just
Yeah.
like great music, and so yeah, I was sort of gently sobbing through the whole thing, and I turned and was telling everyone here at the end, I was like, if I'd seen this live in theater, I don't know if like I probably would have just been like
Water in
floods
the
of-
eyes the entire time. I can't
floods of
see.
tears, 'cause
So
it
many,
gets
so many celebrities have said that they couldn't even go backstage to talk to anybody because they were
Right.
crying so hard.
I know, and I was driving here listening to the soundtrack as I have been every day since, and I was thinking like, how would I react if I met Lin-Manuel at this point? Like I would just break down in tears immediately, and I'd be like, wait, I want to talk to you, but I can't.
He's genius. Like I can't say
It's-
that enough.
yeah.
Just the fact, you know, for those of you that don't know, I mean, he wrote Into the Heights and then Hamilton, which are both just works of genius.
They're so
Into the-
good.
into
Gone on to write music for Moana,
Yep.
co-starred in Mary Poppins
Yep.
Returns. I mean, the guy is set.
Actually, if
Yeah.
you've ever listened to the 15-minute musical 21 Chump Street, too, that is so good. It's not as well known, but it's so
Yeah.
I'll have to deep dive
21
on
It's
that one.
very good.
Chump
It's
Street?
on
21
YouTube.
Chump Street. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Chump
think
Street.
Anthony Ramos.
Yep,
is
Anthony
it?
Ramos is
Yeah.
in it. But it's basically just about a real event that happened where a woman who is a police officer, is some kind of investigator.
She's an undercover investigator, I
Yeah.
believe. She she goes as a student to a school. She undercover, and Anthony Ramos's character falls in love with her, and she hooks him up. She sets him up basically with like a drug bust and arrests him by the end of the
and
musical.
his life is ruined.
Yeah.
And that's a real event that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
This is when he was in high school. He was a little kid, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
got cast in a lead, had never been in a play before. He's gone on to become everything that he is now.
He's going to
Wow.
be
He's gonna be
Lynn's
huge.
part in the Heights in the upcoming film in 2021. Just saw him in a Crown Royal commercial
He's in a
recently.
great Crown Royal
I
commercial
wouldn't have
with his
recognized him
mom.
before, but now he's got the most recognizable face. It's like, yeah, you drink that liquor, man. You
yeah,
go.
heck yeah, we know you.
I actually do have a question for our distinguished panel as far as Lynn goes. So he's created Hamilton, one of the greatest pieces of art ever made, as distinguished by the Kennedy Center. Do we think that Lin-Manuel will maybe create something else outside of Hamilton? Not necessarily bigger, because I don't know if you can get bigger than this, but do you think he's got something else in him? Anyone can jump in as far as Lynn.
I mean, I think definitely. I think just, you know, what he's done so far is just like the tip of the iceberg. He can do so much more, you know? And even if he doesn't, you know, he's set. He's so set, you know? But I think he's definitely capable. And if something pops into his head, we know that he's going to do it. That's his mindset. So, I think so.
Yeah, I'd say on that same note, we don't know until he does something else, until he
Yeah,
puts something
really.
else. I know he said, I've been following him on Twitter, and I know he's posted stuff like, there will never be anything like Hamilton. I don't think I'll
Yeah.
ever be able to make anything else like that. So, but we honestly don't know that.
Yeah.
We
He
don't-
probably
we
thought the
don't
same
know
thing
that.
of In the Heights.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
one of the things that he says is that Hamilton wasn't just me. He brought in the seeds of the ideas. But when he accepted the Kennedy Center honors, he wouldn't accept it just for himself. He accepted it with 3 other collaborators. And he says everybody in the cast added, everybody in the band added, everybody contributed to this. So this is not just me. We started with an idea, and then everybody threw in their talents and made it as big. So
Those other the other people that were honored, it was the choreographer, the music
Alice
director, and the director,
Lackmore.
right?
Yeah.
who
Tommy
Andy
Kail.
Blankenshauer, I can't say his
Yeah.
name.
Was Tommy Kail one of them?
Tommy Kail.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
the
thank you.
core, the core group. That makes sense.
Not to interrupt what you're saying,
Please.
but Kat from the chat here said that he's already working on something else.
He's working on Tick
So-
Tick Boom right now, which is a takeoff on the guy that started Rent and died. So he had written another little play called Tick Tick Boom, and that was like on the background for a long, long time. And now Lynn is in the process of doing the soundtrack for that. He's
Again,
also
pure
doing
genius.
another thing for Disney. It's another like Moana, and I'm sorry I can't remember what it is, but they're in the middle of doing that. But they're kind of waiting because of the
Oh, I'm not
flu.
surprised he's always going to find work. That's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
that's not even
He's
a question.
proved he's more than capable of like
Yeah.
doing what he's doing, you know.
And I feel like he always
So-
tweets that he's like still writing. So he is still creating, whether or not
Yeah.
it's stuff that we'll get to see
Yeah.
or it'll be as successful as Hamilton.
I'm
We
still
don't-
alive, guys. Don't
And
be
now,
worried.
now
gotta
he's
sit
at the
here and
point
twiddle
where
our
everybody
thumbs.
collaborates with him. So it's nothing
Yeah.
for him to work with Stephen Sondheim and do something, and somebody else, oh, I've got an idea here. Cantner, he did a big thing with. So everybody's dying to work with him, so who knows what he's going to come up with.
Yeah.
It says here Netflix has the rights to Tick Tick Boom.
Yep.
Oh,
Interesting.
did not know
And
that.
also,
interesting.
Freestyle Love Supreme is coming out. That's the hip-hop group that they started with when he was in college.
Oh,
And
which
they've
is
got a
how
movie that's
David,
coming-
Yes.
which
Yeah,
is how
that's how
David
David
was
got
was
it.
asked to
Yes,
be in.
and Christopher Jackson's in it, and that is coming on Netflix very soon. But I looked last
yes.
night; it's not there yet, but it's going to be there very soon.
That's gonna be awesome.
Exciting.
That's gonna be a must watch.
So, I'm probably not the only one who has had all of the songs playing at one time in my head since this dropped on Disney Plus.
weird.
It's like you
It's
you
almost
have.
like you're helpless.
Merrick, I think you're truly satisfied.
I'm going to cancel this show.
He's never satisfied.
Good Lord, I hate being
mean-
in the room where it happens. Anyway,
Oh
so
Maybe do it.
clearly every song's playing all at
So
once.
seamless.
Does anyone
But they all
have?
fit together.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
literally one
yeah.
track after another, and as if you crank them all to 100, and they're all just blasting all at
One of
once.
my, I think my favorite thing about the music specifically is the motifs that come up again and again. And musicals have done that for a long time, but I don't think any musical has ever done it quite as successfully with like these little motifs that come back
Yeah.
in like 3 songs, 4 songs,
Well,
5
yeah,
songs.
because these ones are good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're it's so
Preach.
clever. Even just with the the look around, and that is sung in different keys, in different songs, in different ways, and it has different meanings, and that is like
And
that's
I think
my
you can
favorite
largely
thing.
blame that on Alec Blackamore because
Yeah.
he can just take the gem of it,
Yeah, yeah.
the beginning of a song and turn it into huge things that fit
Right.
into everything.
Like this giant beautiful musical puzzle that just fits together perfectly.
Yeah.
Lynn says that he's not responsible for that stuff. But that's,
Right.
Wow,
Yeah.
so it's-
He's very good at giving credit to
Yeah.
other people.
Where it's done.
Right.
'Cause he
Right.
knows.
He also, I heard he missed one show on Broadway because he was sick, and he would hear every day. He would hear, oh, so and so is going to be at the show tonight. Beyonce is going to be at the show tonight. Whoever, all these people are going to be. So he hears, I forget who it was. He hears someone's going to be at the show, and he's lying in bed with an IV in his arm, and he said he pulled it out and got up and was like, I'm fine, I can do this. And his wife is like, no, you need to get back into bed. Like, that's the dedication, though.
So my question for all of those here is, if you had to pick one song that you could do at cabaret karaoke from Hamilton, what would it be and why? Anyone can jump in, by all
In
means.
chat too, let us know. 'cause
Yes.
You never know, we might do it.
If Crossover Lord's got something that he would blast out, let's go. Let's get that.
Yeah,
Well, if you did Disney, the two of you did Disney, you certainly could do that.
Oh, yeah.
that's definitely, yeah, we've talked about it, so.
Yeah. We talked about it pre-stream.
Yeah.
I
Stay tuned.
I definitely want to make. I mean, I'll start it off because I just
Please.
love. Yeah, nonstop. Crossover Lord says nonstop. Nonstop is amazing, but I would have to say the room where it happens. There's something about that track I love.
Yeah.
It's definitely that song. I think is one of those songs where the album doesn't quite do that particular song justice. It's Leslie being on stage around everyone, being able to move with it
It's
and
definitely
go with
yeah,
it. That,
yeah. There isn't really a song that isn't improved by the visual aspect, but that is definitely one of the.
that to me was the biggest
stronger
one of
ones.
like it's a totally different.
What about you, Merrick?
Wait for it. That would
Oh,
be
yeah. Sounds good
my
too.
instinctive one, which again, that was another song where, once you see it and just you feel it so much more. By no means would I ever intentionally audition for Hamilton unless King George was up for grabs. That would be the role that I would do.
Yep.
But if I could do a song out of a show, where in most cases it's fine to do that, that would be the song that I would go for. And
That was what Sarah and I both said when King George came out. We were like, "There's Merrick's
Yeah,
part."
we're all just like, hey, it's him.
Ladies?
Go down the line. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I really like the ten commandments. But like the last, I don't know. I think it's the same song, but it's like where Hamilton dies.
The reprise?
I guess. Just because it's seeing it, and like, you know, we talked briefly about the bullet that's shown.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
just, it speaks volumes. Like it's so great.
Well, and there's no accompaniment to it either. It's
I know.
just
Yeah.
free spoken.
that's the song you would do for cabaret karaoke.
Oh no, I missed that.
She just gets on stage.
Hey, I'm super smart. My name's Sarah.
No, it's okay to have a standout song. I'm just like, well,
Yeah,
You wouldn't need an
fine.
accompanist. I mean, that's, yeah.
Oh goodness. Story of Tonight. It's really good. Simple. It's good.
It's wonderful.
Oh,
You were asking the most indecisive person on this planet. I would never be able to do the role, but I would love to be able to do Congratulations. It was never in the show, but it was one of the demos that is sung by Angelica, and it's just, it packs such a punch. And I
Maybe
think
check
that's
that out.
why it jumps out at me so much, just because it's just so powerful in its own right. And it's one of the songs I wish was actually still in the musical. I think they should have kept it.
For that matter, you could do the song that they cut out about,
John
That's
Adams?
Enough, John. Yeah.
That's enough, John.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was just gonna mention that. Have you
Yep.
heard that?
yes, I have.
Yeah, a lot of f-bombs,
I
but it's
gotta
good. I promise.
Disney
good.
would not approve.
No.
That's why it got taken out. No, I'm just kidding. It
And-
just didn't fit.
So, kind of on the same track. I love the song First Burn, which it's not on the mixtape, but it was a separate release, and it was like the first cut, I think, of Burn. So, like, I love the song Burn. I don't think it'd be great for karaoke.
Fair enough.
Really
No, that's
sad,
fine.
really
No,
slow.
You have to cry. That's the only way
Yeah.
that you have to cry.
Any
crowd
songs
down
written
low
for
for a
Hamilton are fair
Yeah.
game because
Yeah.
chances are everyone in that audience at a cabaret karaoke is going to know what you're singing.
You
about.
could bring your own basket of fire. Everybody would like
Yeah, or you could set the place on fire, but it's fine.
Method actors. Ugh.
Bring me my basket of fire.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we actually have a place to talk about it. Like I feel like I'm joining in on the conversation because all of my thespian friends have known, they've listened to the album tens of hundreds of times, and it's not that I was ever adamantly against Hamilton at all. It's just everyone was so into it, and I was just kind of focused on other things in my life. But now that we're all able to have the ticket to see the show, it feels kind of wonderful that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can all partake in it and actually know the plot and see everything. And it's like, this is one of those few times where I am actually watching what everyone else is watching, because otherwise I'm wearing shows that involve tights and capes and bat ears on occasion. So this is a branching off for me, but I'm glad that we're all able to.
Merrick's
enjoy this
dream
together.
I've
is
been
to be
begging
a
for
real
him.
life Power Ranger, just so everyone's
Oh,
aware.
Yep.
You've
It's
been knowing.
his dream.
Amazing.
We actually
I've been begging for him to watch it for 4 years, and he just absolutely resisted because everybody, it's too popular, don't want to, haven't got time.
Yeah, I get
I
that.
stand by
And
that.
now,
I get that feeling.
Now-
finally this week, he's
Yeah.
jumping in both feet, and
Well,
it's
I'm not gonna
glorious.
lie. It helped that I had captions, so I could actually read along and follow the plot. Like
Yes.
otherwise, with
Yep.
part of my autism, it's
There's
just
a
it all
lot.
becomes noise and there's
Which
so much
Lynn
to take
also
in.
put in Spanish captions for people who needed it in
nice.
Spanish.
I can only imagine the guy typing up those.
He was going
captions.
crazy, 144 words a minute.
That's
It
incredible.
is the Broadway production with the most words per minute, which is probably very unsurprising, but it's like double the
Yeah.
one in
I read
in
something
second
that
place.
at the fastest point, David Diggs says like 6 words in a second or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh my
He
god.
gets
That sounds accurate.
he
But I mean,
gets
that's not about
Is that
right,
from
yeah.
Guns and
Guns and
Ships,
Ships,
right?
yeah.
he gets 15 words into like 2.7 seconds or something.
Have you guys tried to like copy that?
My
Like,
friend can do
I'm-
that. My
Really?
same friend who saw it can do that
Every
song.
little
Yeah.
kid in high
Yeah.
school can do it. When we go and do
Yeah,
theater
yeah.
costumes for everybody and everybody's backstage, all the kids can do everything.
Just press
that
play.
David does.
Let them let them go off.
They
Like,
can
know
do
what they're
every
doing.
word.
It's fine.
Drop the mic. I will. Give me a couple of months, and I'll tell you.
It's helpful when you actually have the words. So like in the
Yes.
Hamilton
Hamilton
book,
Yes.
Half the
Yes.
tempo would be
you can
fine.
have it.
too,
and you
maybe.
can
Speaking of props, if I may, bring this without destroying the
destroying
table.
everything.
Got it. So,
I'm so
Get ready
proud
to
of
cut
you,
the
Merrick.
camera.
if I can just briefly show the book that inspired Hamilton, because what was he, on a plane or something, going to like to
He
vacation
went-
or whatever?
he
He
went-
went on vacation,
Yeah.
he went in the airport.
And this was the book, minus the Hamilton logo, because that didn't exist, but this was the book that he had read that inspired the show, Alexander Hamilton, by Ron Chernow. And not that I have any experts in that, because I'm not a major reader, but I just thought it was interesting to have the original book on hand that
I
inspired
want to
me.
read that. Or I
He
want to
just
listen
wants-
to the
Also available in
audiobook.
audiobook as
He
well.
just
Yeah.
wanted a
Myself.
fact book to read on vacation because he just finished Within the Heights and he was tired and they were going to go to the beach and he was, I'll grab this book because when I was in junior high school, I had done one book report on the duel between Burr and Hamilton. So I knew a little bit about it. This is what he's saying. And it just struck me that I just grab a book and that's what I would read. He says, as soon as I got to the beach and opened the first chapter, I realized that this is the story of everybody I know in hip hop. This
And
is
it-
the same thing because they write their way out.
It led to an empire.
Yep.
A total empire. Mom picked up an original playbill with the original cast in it, so that's an exciting piece of memorabilia. We also have audio book on the history of George Washington. We also have
Which is
the
written by Ron Charno.
What's the
My
Spamilton? Yeah, I was gonna.
Spamilton, an American
yeah.
parody.
The
Oh, no.
funniest.
What is
funniest,
that?
I've heard clips from that. I believe.
Hilarious. It's a takeoff on everything about Lynn. If you love Lynn and worship him, this will cut him to ribbons.
Add it to your
It's
local
pretty
shrine
funny.
today.
Brilliant.
But
It's
yeah.
very good lyrics, very fast lyrics, but it's just taking the mickey out of the whole play.
So if anybody questioned if there was a legitimate fandom that went along with this, trust me, this show is about fandoms,
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
we've hit up a legitimate fandom. Mom
Hey,
even
did,
got a 2019 calendar over here.
Did
so.
anyone notice? I just heard, I'm not sure if I read or heard it, but the guy who played Washington at
Chris Jackson.
at the end, Chris Jackson, he wanted to, make some kind of reference to Washington's involvement with slavery, and he couldn't figure out how to do that because there was no, it wasn't like putting a line in or anything.
It was definitely a positive highlight of all these characters.
But if
and
you,
nothing
yes,
that
but,
I did.
not
but
yet.
if you look carefully, and I noticed this happening, I just didn't know why it was happening. But he explained that why when Eliza at the very end mentions something about atonement for our mistakes or something like that, you can see Washington clearly in the background sort of nods as if to accept responsibility and bows his head and steps back into the darkness, which is a really, talking details, like such a tiny little detail, and it's something that was purely a physical thing, and but very powerful. And
Well,
I
it just
think
goes
I really,
to show how much room for details there were
Yeah.
in this script. There are some shows where it's just too light that you can't really fit in any form of darkness. Music Man comes to mind.
Yeah.
Annie is one of them. Oh, I can't sit through Annie.
That was my first musical I ever saw. That was the moment that I was like, yeah, I'm a theater kid.
This is it.
Yeah,
This is the one.
This is what I want to do.
Tiptoe Girls.
Yeah.
And that was the moment I knew I'm never doing this show for a 3-month commitment ever.
we used to sing dumb. I used to sing "Dumb Dog" to my dog all the time. She would swallow me. Dumb dog.
Merrick, were you in The Sound of Music?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
were.
that was a memory I had too. It was like Merrick was like this cute little kid and he was singing The Sound of Music.
And I
It
hit
was-
that high note
He hit
as
that
per,
high note.
and I was
I was so proud.
very happy of that because I always had to make sure
That's
don't muck it up.
awesome.
Don't muck it up.
No.
Let me also mention that he played Billy down in Chicago, down in Tampa, Florida. They just handed him the part. They had 2 weeks down there. and they
Thanks,
said,
thanks for
"Merrick."
hyping me up, Mother. I appreciate that.
We're all proud of you.
Yeah, it was
Best
for
organ and all.
He hasn't seen it on stage, but he played it.
for sake of conversation, when I was on my internship for college, I was with the Broadway Theater Project, and we worked down in Tampa. It was a 3-week musical theater intensive, and the program had been around for like 30 years, mentioned in Broadway World and all these other publications. And for the first time in its 30-year history, they decided to do a full-fledged musical. So we got the full Samuel French company script of
In 2
Chicago.
weeks.
And we had 3. But it was one of the most exhausting adventures of my life, but I learned a crap ton, and I am super grateful to Deb McWaters, who was an assistant choreographer on the revival production of Chicago, which is still on Broadway, sans COVID. Herman Payne, who's a co-artistic director, he's worked with Usher, Whitney Houston, Maya, Michael Jackson. The list goes on and on. His record. He was also on SNL as a featured dancer between a couple of the skits. So just the panel that we've had come through. That's where I met Todrick Hall.
Oh my!
down
You
there.
met Todrick
Oh,
Hall.
yeah.
That was the only reason why
They-
I went, was because
They're
Todrick Hall.
contacts.
Yep.
Dude.
Best
They're
buds.
contacts.
Best
Todrick
buds.
like,
They're
Todrick
like
liked
this.
his dancing.
They're like this.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
yeah.
Said if you come out to California, let me know.
I was trying to be courteous when we were going through his dance routine. It was from one of his songs from Straight Outta Oz. I was because I knew I was older. I'm like, I want to make sure the kids were there, but the teachers kept pushing me to the front. So I'm like, all right, if you don't want to be courteous, won't be courteous. I'm ready to just go ham. But that was the reason why I went, was because of Todrick. And yeah, great panel. But
So Merrick brought me to see Todrick in Boston, and we loved it.
so good. He's so
I got
So-
to fit in with everybody.
There's a talented
Yeah,
individual
crossover
right there.
Lord. In chat here, he's asking what other musicals that we like that are kind of our favorites that are on
Oh,
like top tier.
you brought up Sound of Music, and that is way up there for me. I love the Sound of Music.
well, there's just so much texture to
Cabaret.
that.
Cabaret is so
Les
good.
Mis.
Yeah.
Les Mis is my favorite.
Shows that have reasons behind them. That
Yes.
when you come out, you say, "Well, that was worth my time."
Yeah.
That was not just fun and games. That was thoughts and
Yeah.
improved my life for having seen it.
I personally typically like musicals that feature African American performers in prominent roles. Dreamgirls is absolutely up there for me. The Wiz is up there for me.
Smokey
Obviously,
Joe's.
Lion King, Smokey Joe's Cafe, Hairspray. These are all shows that I can never do,
The
but
Color
they're
Purple?
still my favorites.
Yeah,
Color Purple,
Color
yeah,
Purple
it's
is-
up there.
yeah.
Those are typically the shows. I just can never do them.
Susical.
I could do Susical.
Oh,
I've done that.
that
I
brings
twice.
us
love
back
Susical.
there.
I think it's got all kinds of great things to learn from.
It's
you
the
know?
one show that's always available for any theater to
It's
do.
true. It's true.
I don't know. For me, it's like South Pacific and a Phantom of the Opera. They just speak to me. Like, I get goosebumps every time I see the movie or I see the performance, and
Yeah.
it's so great to me.
Yeah. That's,
What about Cats, the new version?
I mean, we love it.
no.
Butthole or no butthole?
Good. Taylor Swift.
God, I am.
Jason Derulo. Sorry.
Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name.
You're blanking on every
was-
role you've
no,
ever done.
I know.
What it's about. Maybe I can give it
It's
to you.
well, you would know, I believe. You went to KCACTF.
I did, yes.
Um,
Roller skates?
I only went twice though, so I don't know if that
Xanadu?
necessarily helps.
Xanadu
Xanadu.
it wasn't.
great,
It
by the
wasn't
way.
Xanadu. It was.
I love Xanadu.
It was so powerful. And I'm blanking on the name because I have issues with retrieval. But
That's okay.
Yeah. One of the songs. Okay, so it's complicated. There's a wife and a husband. They live together in the South. And
Oklahoma.
no.
You yourself, but I'm like, that's Oklahoma.
No.
I like this.
and-
This should have been the game all along. We'll describe our favorite
What am I
musical.
thinking of?
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think it's as well known.
Probably not. KCACTF is well known for experimental theater.
You're
It's
Town?
it's true. I love Urinetown. Urinetown.
Really?
I played Little Sally.
I saw
at
her
my
as
high
Little
school.
Sally.
Yeah.
She was
Amazing.
wonderful. at
Thank
Oakmont.
you, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
That's why you look so good.
Sarah's meeting one of her favorite celebrities, ladies and gentlemen. Woohoo.
Oh, we're gonna talk later. I got some stories.
So just it was something about a husband and his wife live in the South, and the husband works at, I believe it's like a factory or something, and a little girl goes missing and dies. And
Is he Jewish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and
Yep.
the town turns on him.
Yep.
And
I've never seen this.
Oh, it's
I have
wonderful.
no
it's.
idea what
Do you
it
know
is.
the name of it?
I'm working on it
Help
here.
me, please. This is so embarrassing. We're live.
Well, it's set in the 1920s.
Yes.
And it's the women all working in the shirt factory.
Yes.
So we're on the same wavelength here.
Yeah. There a couple of the songs are "You Don't Know This Man." I think it's like "The Red Hills of Old." Is another
It's
song.
not Karis. No.
No.
That's
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I know
now.
it as
It's-
the movie. I didn't know it as a play.
It's a musical. So it
Okay.
was down in. I went down to the Kennedy Center Theater Festival one year with my college,
Oh, okay.
Westfield State, and we. I think it was in Connecticut that they were showing this show.
Probably, yeah. They switch between that and Hyannis like every so often. So
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So for the last 2 years I went, it was in Connecticut, and they did this. I think it was like the second time I went, or something. It was like the first year. It was.
Can
in
you work on
Connecticut.
titles on how many words are in the title?
I can't remember.
A lot,
I could-
or a little.
I would have only
Watch
seen
the
Drowsy
show, guys.
Chaperone
Can I pull out
there.
my phone?
Yes,
Of course you
please.
can.
Drowsy
How?
Chaperone.
Professional? What?
In the meantime, we
costs
walked
money.
Drowsy Chaperone and let me throw out Into the Woods.
Yes.
Money, boy.
Merrick was just in.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we
Into the
did
Woods
that
is
at
up there.
Fitchburg State, and it was
That's-
beyond fabulous.
Oh, I love Into the
Yep.
Woods too. That's
going, keep
yeah.
Were
I'm
you
going.
in that?
Anyway, we'll go to
Yes.
Jocelyn. Jocelyn.
So my
Were
favorite
you-
musical is Les Mis.
You read?
Les Mis.
So I've seen multiple productions of it. I saw it in the West End actually, which is really exciting.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because it's like the longest running show
Yep.
there,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah,
but
it
it
is their big,
closed
longest
recently, I think. I'm pretty sure, not due to COVID.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Well, they timed that one right.
But yeah, that one's always been my favorite because it's just like a really, really great story. Did you find it?
No, I'm gonna let you finish. I found it, but you go ahead.
Okay. And then it's more modern, but Anastasia. I love that.
Yes.
I've always loved the movie, and Anastasia's always been my favorite princess, even though she's not a Disney princess.
But she is now.
She's
Sorry,
got a
Disney.
story.
But yeah, so I love that musical too, and I think the cast was really talented in it too.
Have you been in plays? Are you a theater geek?
I went to theater camp with Merrick for like 2 years, I think.
And what kind of things were you in?
Well, we were at Spotlight together. We were
Yep.
in Anything Goes together, and then I was also in Guys and Dolls 1 year there. And then I just did theater through like middle school, other than the camp. So,
I think that's why I recognize you because I was also in Spotlight.
oh,
She
gonna
was
say
in
you guys were all
Oklahoma.
friends.
Yeah, it was
That's
our-
great.
I was in Oklahoma and Shrek 1 year too. I played Pinocchio. But
Were you in Shrek at the college? Or was it just Sterling Theater?
No, just Sterling. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, tell what he was. So I don't
Merrick
be
was
mom.
Farquaad.
amazing.
That is, and we were talking like yesterday or a few days ago, and he said that is the one role that he would do again and again. It's very
Yeah,
good.
I know that's the one thing
Yeah.
that I could do better. Maybe also the cat from Honk, but with Farquaad, there's just so much more texture to it, or at least for colorful characters. That's one that I would do. No, Jocelyn, I was going to say, I know that you were
First
never
musical.
quite as involved as maybe some of the rest of us, but I
Yeah.
know your knowledge is so up there. So
Yeah,
I was never worried that you weren't going to
Yeah,
add to the
so-
conversation.
I wasn't like super involved with theater, especially in high school. I just kind of like dropped it because I was playing like 2 sports and I was in band and all that, so I didn't have time for it. But I'm always like keeping track of like what's new and what's coming in and going to shows and
Yeah.
listening to soundtracks. So
Would you go back to the world? I obviously know that you're still in school, right? Yeah.
no, I graduated.
You graduated.
Oh,
Okay.
congratulations.
So if you had the choice, like say if there was an audition for a show that you were interested in, would you consider going back for it?
I thought about it a few times when I was in college about doing theater there, and I just never kind of went back to it. But I definitely miss performing a little bit. I used to do dance
Please
too.
consider Theater the
Did you
Mount.
go to the dance center?
No.
Darn it. Okay.
I went to a really small school in Lunenburg. But I did dance all through high school, so there were a few times where I was at Disney, and I was thinking, like, when I was going to full-time, like, I was contemplating seeing if they had auditions for performers to, like, get back into dance, because I
Definitely.
miss doing that so much. So,
Well, I say it is never too late to go back out there. So you have the full Dirty Table endorsement to
thank you.
get back out there when, of course, everything is
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the name of the play?
Virtual. Okay, I should have started with I love Lion King. That's one of my favorites. Sorry, guys. The name of the show is Parade.
Oh,
It's
parade.
Parade.
Really?
It's another show that deals with very difficult topics, kind of like Hamilton, kind of like Wicked or Les Mis. And it is, I recommend it. If you have not seen it, go out and see it. It is so powerful. Listen to the
there's
soundtrack.
They had it in
set-
Boston not too long
out and out
ago.
movie about it that is not called Parade.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's straight drama. Because I don't know the you're saying it's a musical?
It's a musical.
I don't know the musical of it, but I know
Yeah.
the movie of it. Jack Lemmon was in it, as a matter of fact.
I
Really?
guess
Okay.
the events surrounding the investigation and trial, the real
Yes.
one, was responsible for the revival of the defunct KKK.
Yes.
And the birth of the Jewish Civil Rights Organization,
Yes.
the Anti-Defamation League. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
if you look
It's-
on
it's crazy. It's
IMDb, and
That's
Jack
a-
Lemmon, you'll find the name of it in there somewhere.
Yes. I think it was based on a true story.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it really happened.
So.